What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. I am here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is is it? Yeah. Tuesday, September
What?
16th, 2025. My name is Chris Drummond. I am a freelance sports reporter based out of upstate New York here and proprietor of this podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, where I bring individuals on to talk about their why and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a very special guest that's coming on with me today. She has been a weekend anchor and a reporter in multiple stops. She is also a graduate of, I believe, Mississippi State University, which is, she's a Bulldog alum, no question, even though it's the wrong Bulldogs, in my opinion. Go Georgia. But she is amazing, and her name is Alyssa Martin. And we're going to talk to her about her why of getting into journalism. We're also going to get to know her a little bit about her podcast. She has a podcast of her own, and we're going to talk to her about the origins of her podcast and what her podcast is about. So I introduce y'all the lovely, the talented Alyssa. Welcome to the podcast.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's different to be on this side again because I'm used to interviewing people now. So I'm like, I forgot how do I get interviewed? I don't know. So we'll see.
Absolutely. You know what? And that's amazing. It's always amazing to talk to different people in media, journalists, because they're so used to going to get the sources. They're so used to doing the interviews and conducting the questions. And that's why I love doing this, what I do, because we don't get a chance to talk about ourselves because we're always trying to go get the story. So, my
Mhm.
first question to you is the same that it always is with everybody that's on here. And that is, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Did you have any role models or any inspirations
Mhm.
maybe growing up? But ultimately, what is your why for getting into the media industry?
So I grew up around TV news. My dad is in local TV news.
Mm.
My grandfather on my dad's side was also in local media in Texas, which is where our family's from. We
Okay.
located to Mississippi because my dad's job in local TV news when I was three, probably. So
Wow.
I really never knew anything different. And I tell
Hmm.
people like it was just normal to me to like be around a camera and like a, TV
Hmm.
set and all of that. And I always thought like my dad gets to do really cool things and he calls it work. So I think I want to do that. So I never really knew anything different from that and following that path. Just because I knew that while he also got to do really fun things, he also had like a obligation and a duty to inform the community of what's happening,
Right.
tell the truth, tell the hard stories, answer the tough questions. And so I really wanted to follow in those footsteps. And so I did. I started in Columbus, Mississippi in like 2013, like right before I was graduating college. um, that's the same station my dad works at. It's a CBS affiliate. I was
Mm.
working in our main station. He works in the bureau. Of course, started as a reporter and then just kind of like worked my way, try to work my way up. Like I started learning how to produce and like fill in anchor there.
Sure.
But I knew like at some point I'm going to have to move because I need more experience and I really wanted to get on more like the producer and anchor side of it. So I took a job in Huntsville, Alabama,
Yeah.
and moved there in 2016 and did just about like every different shift. I had done morning reporting and then I anchored like our midday and then I, would anchor in the evenings and,
Okay.
like my shift was always changing, it was always, they were always moving people around. So, but
Right.
um, that was also like a very tough market because there came to be five stations. So it was very competitive. And I was not used to that, like in our market in Tupelo, there was two TV stations,
Mhm.
So it was a great learning experience. I mean, it pushed me and some days I was like, I literally can't do this. Like I'm not built for it, but
Sure.
I made it through.
Sure.
Made it through all the crime scenes by myself at, 4 a.m. because we were MMJs. We didn't have photographers,
Right.
um, and learn how to produce. That was like my growing years, I feel like. And I always knew that I wanted to come back to Tupelo. and work at WTVA, which is like the predominant station in this market. And it just so happened that my station in Huntsville, they were bought by Heartland Media, which owned WTVA. So at
Okay.
the time, so when the opportunity came, I, talked to the news director. That was a news director at the time here, and I had kind of interviewed a few times before, but it was just never right. Like it just wasn't the right time. And then when I actually came here in 2019, like everything fell into place so quick. And it was like she reached out to me, sought me out, and it was just like within a couple weeks I was here. So it happened really quick. And I was like, it was so crazy because at that point I was like, I'm literally living my dream job. Like I'm living where back home, like all my girlfriends are here, like they're having babies, I'm back, like watching these things happen that I had missed out on so much. Like,
Sure.
TV, like
Yeah.
you obviously give up so much. Like you give up your life, you give up, living where your family is, where your friends are, all that. And so I
Sure.
got to be back here, and that was the biggest blessing. So I was here from 2019 at WTVA to 2024. Allen Media had bought us. And if you keep up with any local media or like media talk, Allen Media has gone through some major restructuring.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it hit employees, corporate. I also learned in 2024, I went through a layoff with WTVA.
Mm.
And I was in our first round, which was very, very jarring. Like we had no clue as the employees what was coming. I anchored evening, so I was anchoring 6:30, 9, and 10, like prime evening spots. I was anchoring on all three of our networks.
Wow.
Um, but it goes to show that corporate doesn't, they don't know, they don't care. I mean, I had went to our state awards 2 years in a row, won for, small market anchor. I was shocked, that I was like actually getting to do these things. And like for once I felt like, okay, maybe I am good enough. Maybe, And then the layoff happens, and that just like rocked my world.
Of course.
Because we had no clue, and corporate didn't care. I mean, I've
Right.
said that. I've told my story on my podcast, and like, did so in a way to be transparent, because I think a lot of times, like, in local, whether it's sports, whether it's news, whatever it is, like we're taught to go out, get the story, talk to real people.
Yep.
But then, like in my case, like we became the story, like we were the real people. And it's been very important for me to be able to share that.
Right.
Um, and I mean, it wasn't just Allen Media has been under a lot of heat because of the widespread layoffs and just how they've handled things. But
Absolutely.
it's not just Allen Media. I think we're seeing it with big news corporations, scripts, like a ton of people are going through these layoffs. And it's really sad to see that is how news is changing. But on the flip side, it also goes to show that again, like corporate, just they don't know. They don't know, they don't care, and it didn't matter, at the end of the day. But so yeah, that happened in 2024. And obviously when you go through something like that in a small town, everybody knows. The paper did a story on it, and then word got out very quick before I could even say anything.
Right.
Um But, also like when you get out of something like that, people are like, you should start your own podcast. You should start your own news channel. And I'm like, yeah, starting your own news channel, that is, I don't think that is a very big thing.
That is
People
very
don't
big.
understand the reality of it. They're just like, you
Right.
should do this, go out on your own. And I'm like, I was so like I couldn't even think straight. So we didn't start the podcast till like the beginning of this year, because I mean it's a ton of work. It is a
Yeah.
lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot
It
of
is.
time. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of editing, and so it took me a while to get to the place where I was like, okay, I'm ready to take this leap. And Yeah. So, I mean, that's not my paid job. I tell everybody right now it's a very fun hobby.
Right.
But it's grown, and like we do have like really good following, and people wait and they watch and they message and ask, like about the next episode, and we've gotten to do some really cool things. So,
No, that's really awesome. That really is, and we would definitely get into that, and that's a great start to the conversation. No question about that, and I appreciate you being transparent. I really do. Um, it's always tough to when you're doing something that you absolutely love to do. Then you get the news that you got new management coming in, and then you got people that's getting laid off and restructuring, and you do find out about these corporations and companies that sometimes the bottom line is the main thing that they care about,
mhm,
and it's the money, and it's not really about your mental health or your position or how much you value. And I tell people all the time, when you get into this industry, it's a beautiful industry to be in, but you got to
mhm.
also know your worth.
Oh
You
yeah.
got you got to know your worth. I think that's one of the main important things for people that want to get in this industry, and know it early, right? Know it early. Set a precedent, set a tone, set a work ethic. Because you want to prove that you were the right selection, but at the same time, you want to always have that confidence in yourself that you know what you can do and you know what you bring to the table.
Mhm,
Um, and that's just something that I advocate to a lot of people, especially college graduates that come out of college, because I've been out of college for a few years now, and I've been in this industry now for a little bit, and you can just see how eager people are, especially the recent college graduates, of wanting to be on TV and like know your worth, but also get into it for the right reasons, right?
mhm,
Make sure that you have the right mindset of doing that. So I love that first question. I love that first answer that you gave. I wanna follow it up by asking you this, because if I'm not mistaken, you went to Itwamba Community College
mhm.
first, and then you also
Yes.
went to Mississippi State to finish. I want to know, were there any other schools that you were considering prior to going to those two particular schools, or was you dead set on going to those schools?
For me, for with junior college, where I graduated from, where I graduated high school from, we have like a deal or whatever because we have a Toyota plant. So Toyota is really big, and somehow, some way, like they offered free tuition for 2 years for this junior
Right,
college.
right,
So I mean, I was always like, it's a no brainer for me. Like I didn't care about like going into a sorority. Like I just didn't care about all that. So I knew that I wanted to start, in junior college, and I was like, I'm gonna just be working on my basics, like
right.
it's a very well known JUCO, and like a lot of my friends were going there. So I always knew that was going to be my starting place. I did 2 years there. Um, for a brief moment, I was like in between State or Ole Miss.
Okay.
I don't have a dog in the fight when it comes to like my loyalty. I mean, like I do
Hmm.
now because obviously I've gone to
Right,
state and paid my tuition, and like
right.
I would never cheer for Ole Miss. I don't care who they're going for. I mean, I'll cheer for Alabama, LSU. I'll cheer for Tennessee before I ever cheer for Ole Miss. But
Wow.
Ole Miss has a really good journalism program. They have a
Okay.
great one.
Okay.
So I was kind of like in between, but for me, I was always like, I've grown up around this, and I've
Hmm.
seen that what matters is like your experience. A
Absolutely.
degree is very good, obviously. Like a
Yeah,
lot of people are going to say, a degree is required or whatever. But in TV, a degree is not going to necessarily show what you can do.
I agree.
So that's why I was like, I'm going to go to state. I mean, for me, it was just personal. I had more friends, more of my girlfriends that were going there. And I knew that I was, about to like hit the ground running. So as long as I felt like I could get my foot in the door and like start working, then the rest was going to fall into place.
Okay. No, I can respect that. I respect that a lot. And, obviously, if anybody hears you talk, you got that beautiful Southern slang to your voice. No question about that, which I love. I love that a lot. Because I also went to school in the South.
Uh-huh.
I went to school in Atlanta, Georgia. So I graduated from Kennesaw State University. So
Hmm.
I have ties to all the Georgia schools, including UGA, which is my favorite football team. Go Dogs.
Yes.
So I love that, and I love the fact that you was able to go there and graduate from there because that's a pretty good school, and it's
Mhm,
pretty awesome. That you get a chance to not only go to school there, but also kind of work in your hometown state. I want to ask you,
mhm,
how special is that? Because a lot of people don't get a chance to really work in their hometown state. As you mentioned before, when you're in journalism, you got to move around
mhm.
quite a bit to different markets to be able to move up markets, right? So it's a rarity that you get a chance to work in your hometown state and your hometown city. How special was that for you to do that?
Oh, yeah, that was like it was just my end all. I mean, like people would ask me, and I mean, I'm very strong in my faith, and so I knew, like, I prayed a lot of prayers for several years, that I
Hmm.
would be brought back here, because I wanted to be where my family was. I wanted to be where my girlfriends were. I felt like I was missing out on so much. And I was like, if I can just get this job, like if I can just get away back home, and then it happened. And I would tell people all the time when they would ask, like, so what do you want to do from here? Like, where do you want to go? And I would be like, there is nothing else. Like, there wasn't, I had no plans. I was in the middle of my second contract here.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I had already done 3 years plus like a year and a half. And I mean, it was so special because I mean, I went to elementary school, middle school, high school. Like I'm back here. And I mean, I had been gone for a few years, but being able to come back and bring so much experience,
right,
um, to a predominant number one, station and news team in my hometown were like, it was just so crazy. Like my mom watched, I don't think she ever missed a newscast. She had the choice to watch between my dad or me. So
right,
she was always
right.
like torn, but I know that she watched me much more.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, and that was and a lot of times I would just be like driving home from work at night and be like, I'm literally like it was 11 o'clock, I was working nights.
Right,
And I would be like, I just can't believe like I'm actually doing this. Like it was like never like the reality of it, I never lost how special it was, um in my mind, and then when it was all taken away, I mean like it has been still, because I mean I'm not ever gonna like get over it, but it's been like mourning a death of me, part of me, honestly. So
sure. And again, appreciate your transparency of that because I love to ask questions like that because again, it's always special to work in your hometown. It's always special to be able to go to gas stations and grocery
mhm.
stores and people see you on TV and they know you. And your girlfriend see you, like you said, your family sees you. It's just a special feeling, no question about that. I want to ask you some favorite questions, Alyssa, and you just give me the 411 off the rip
Okay.
based upon these favorite questions. So the first one I got for you is favorite meal you like to cook.
I don't cook a whole lot. I like to, but I don't. My favorite meal, ooh, that's so hard. Like home cooked or out restaurant?
Yeah, home cooked. Yeah, something that you like to
Home
cook.
cooked.
Now,
See, my
now,
mom My mom is a great cook, and she
okay,
cooks homemade Mexican food. And you just like can't beat it. So, and all my friends are always like, "Can your mom cook for us? Like, can we get her rice and her enchiladas?" So, definitely my mom's Mexican food, whatever that might be. Can't beat
okay. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that, no
it.
doubt. Now, I'm a huge Mexican food person. That's probably my second
So
favorite.
good.
My first is Italian, so I love me some Italian food, no
Mm,
question about that. So, but tacos, if I'm making it, tacos is something
yep.
I can put down very good. So, yes,
Yep.
I'm with you on that. Okay. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Ooh. Let's see. I went to just actually earlier this year. I've been to a lot. Like I've seen Jelly Roll. He was really good.
Yep.
Um, I've seen Jason Aldean a few times. Obviously, I like country music. Earlier this year, we saw Riley Green,
Hmm.
and Ellen Langley opened up for him. And like Ellen Langley's like she's everywhere. She's all over the country music charts right now. So that's probably my favorite to date, just because it was so good and we're looking forward to it for so long.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about
Yeah,
that.
I mean, that's hard because I love country music. I've seen Morgan Wallen a few times, but I loved Riley Green and Ella Langley.
Okay, no, I can dig that. I can dig that. I'm gonna have to look them up because I'm not too familiar with them. But I definitely do like the genre. I like the genre of country as well.
Hmm.
I'm a huge Luke Combs, uh,
Yep.
Morgan
Hmm.
Wallen. Definitely Florida Georgia line, even though they kind of
Yep.
more popish than country. And I also like Zach Brown Band. That's another band. That's another
Hmm.
group that I love. So yes, which I've been to all of their concerts because I'm a huge concert goer. But my favorite
Yes.
is probably The Weeknd. I'm a huge R&B
Oh,
person,
very
so
cool. Yeah.
I love The Weeknd for sure. Okay,
Now, if
what
I
you on?
could pick a concert to go to, that would be my favorite. In my wildest dreams, I would see Lil Wayne.
You know what? It's funny that you said that because I just saw him last month here in Buffalo, and that was
I would
crazy.
see Lil Wayne.
Oh my, you would have a good time because he puts
Hmm.
on quite a show, no question about that. You would love that concert for sure.
I love that's like my favorite rapper.
Okay, I love that. I love that you love
Bonus
that.
answer.
Yeah, I love that. That's what's up. That got me smiling, girl. I love that. So here we go. Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Oh, the beach, hands down. We just got back from the beach. So we go to
Okay.
the coast, the Alabama coast, Orange Beach
Mm,
area.
yep,
And it's just so nice, especially this time of the year. I love going to the beach. I love just not being on a schedule. I love beach bumming, not having a schedule, an agenda, a place to be. I just want to book and I want the beach and to be left alone.
I know that's right. I know that is right. And listen, obviously the beach, I love the beach as well. I grew up in California, San Diego to be exact, so I'm huge on beaches and stuff like that. I say Gulf Shores is one of my favorite
Hmm.
places that I've ever been. No question about that. But I would say my favorite place that I've ever traveled to was Hilton Head, South
Oh,
Carolina.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Went out there with some friends, and we took a weekend trip, and it was really nice, really cool. Again, I'm a huge beach person, so love being in the water, love being in great scenery. Got a chance to see
Hmm.
that, so Hilton Head was definitely one of my favorite spots for sure.
Nice. Yeah, I've heard really good things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No doubt about that. And I do have family from I've been to Mississippi once, but I do have a
Oh.
question. Yeah, because my mother on my mother's side, we have family in Jackson, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have been to Mississippi once, but I do have a question for you a little later in the episode about Mississippi, but we'll definitely get to that for sure. Um I'm a sports person, Alyssa, so I'm going to ask you this two-part sports question. So here we go. Favorite sport you like to watch on TV, and favorite sport you like to attend in person. They could be the same sport.
Football, both.
Okay. Now, are you NFL college or just college?
Both.
Hmm.
I grew up watching the NFL with my mom. We're Cowboys fans.
God bless your heart.
And oh, I know, I know. And then, of course, I went to state, and Dak was, there when I was. And so then
Yep,
when he went to the Cowboys, it was just like the icing on the cake for a Cowboys fan and a state grad. But I mean, I grew up watching the NFL with my mom, and then, just being in the South, middle of SEC country, if
I
you
do.
don't buy into that, it's like, well, what are you doing on a
Right.
Saturday? But I love just
Mhm.
a Saturday where I'm not having to work and I can just, turn the TV on and game after game. I try to go to a state game, at least
Mhm.
one.
Right.
I just have to plan it out because my schedule doesn't allow me to just like fly by the seat and go on this Saturday, So my mom and I are trying to go to the state and Texas game October 25th. So
Woo.
we'll see.
Boy, to see Arch Manning and them boys play against them, huh?
I know.
Now how far is Starkville away from you?
It's not far. So Tupelo's like northeast
Hmm.
Mississippi.
Hmm.
Starkville's about 45 minutes an hour
Got
south.
you. Got you. Say less.
Mhm.
So, obviously, I am a definitely huge SEC fan. As I've already said, I've said go dogs in this interview, in this conversation. So UGA is definitely my team. But I love the SEC as a whole. I mean, there's nothing
Mhm.
better. There's no better conference in college football, in my opinion, of the power. what now 4 instead of 5 because they all
Yeah.
consolidated. So I love that. Football is my favorite to watch on TV. Basketball would be my favorite to attend in person. That's for sure.
Basketball's fun. I
No
like
question.
watching baseball in person too, you know.
Absolutely. No question about that. I'm a huge, huge baseball lover. As I told you, I grew up in San Diego, so Padres are my favorite team. And the Chargers are my favorite NFL team because
Mm-hmm.
that's where I grew up when it was in San Diego. Of course, they're now in Los Angeles, so I totally understand that. What do you think about the Cowboys' chances of beating the Bears this weekend?
What do I the Cowboys, it's kind of like being a state fan. It's just a little, up and down. But hey, they won
Hmm.
this past weekend, so I don't know. I mean, I don't ever want to say like, oh yeah, the chances look great. I don't really know that much about the Bears, but the Cowboys, it's hit or miss. It's
Well, yeah, yeah, it's 50-50. I mean, they can certainly lose, they can certainly win. I will tell you this.
they're not the
Um,
best, and I
right.
know that.
I don't wanna break your heart, Alyssa, but I don't have them winning this week. I don't. But but I did pick them last week. We normally do a weekly
Okay.
pool, and I did pick them last week versus the Giants. I did not expect the Giants to play that well. I'm gonna be super honest
Mhm.
with you on that one because the Cowboys have me scared. Not gonna lie,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they ended up pulling it out. They ended up winning, but they are going on the road to Chicago this week. Chicago's 0-2.
Mm,
They just came off a terrible beatdown from Detroit, so I know they're going to be very
they're
ticked
gonna
off.
be on fire.
No question about that. So it should be a good game. It's an afternoon game, but we'll see. Just wanted to throw that out there for sure. Last of the favorites. Before I get to the next question, I'm a huge foodie, so I love to eat. And I want to know what is your favorite restaurant to eat out at there in Tupelo?
It depends if I want like what I'm wanting. I love Japanese food too, and there is a local place that like you kind of have to be from here. I mean, if you looked it up and then you like drove to the outside of the building, you'd be like,
Mhm.
I'm not really sure. Like this place might be it, it might not.
Right, right.
But it's a local Japanese place called Ichiban, and it is so good. They give you so much food. I don't eat it like very often because I try to watch what I eat to an extent.
Sure.
And if I just go all in on that food, I will be like, I've got to go to the gym like 3 times tomorrow. Um, but I love it. I like local places, like anywhere I go. So that's one
Okay.
of our little local hidden gems here.
I would definitely have to keep that in mind. No question about that. I mean, next time I am in Mississippi and if you're there,
Yes.
I'm definitely going to have to say hello to you and I'm definitely going
Be
to
like,
check
hey,
out
remember
that
that
spot.
hole in the wall you told me about?
Absolutely. No question about it. We would definitely have to go there and get something. That's for sure. I would love that. I want to ask this next question, and this by day operations. Now obviously, as journalists, no 2 days was ever the same. We're always doing different things and always got different things going on. And now you have, and now you're going to be obviously you were doing a podcast, and I would love to know about the origins of your podcast of why did you want to start that? What the title is? What do you talk about? What kind of guests you have on? How long and how many times you shoot it a week? Stuff like that.
Hmm.
Tell me your day to day operations now, and how your routine is a little different from when you were doing the journalist and the anchor thing with the station.
So the biggest thing is like just the whole shift in my schedule. Because I was working nights, so I was going in like 2:30, working till
Wow.
like 11.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do the podcast, my paid jobs, like the jobs that make my money right now. I do like
Hmm.
social media and content for a couple businesses.
Okay.
So that keeps me busy on that end.
Okay.
Just doing that. Like it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm at one. And then, sometimes I'm at the other Monday, Thursday, Friday, like it just depends, honestly. Um, and then with the podcast, so it really has just been when I can get in there, which is not the best. Like, don't don't take advice from me
Sure,
because
sure.
it is not obviously I want to get in there. I wish I could be in there every day. Like I was in there today for a couple hours and it was just
Mm,
nice to be able to get in there.
right, right.
And dedicate some time to it. But really, myself and one of my former coworkers started it. She also used to anchor at the station, but left on her own free will. I mean, honestly, she was just tired of dealing with the way things were going, I think.
Right,
And she, saw the writing on the wall, like with corporate coming in,
right.
and the changes that we were going about to go through. So we both, she got out, I was laid off, and then we just were kind of like, a lot of people have asked us to like start a podcast. Like, what if we just did it?
Absolutely.
So we just did it like the beginning of, it was around February when we started. Um,
Mm,
Probably done like 10 or 12 episodes. I mean, because we do, it's like, it's not just audio, it's audio and video. And then, some of them, like, I have to get in there and edit.
right.
Not everyone requires as much editing. It's called Off the Record 662, which 662 is our area code. And
Okay.
really our goal of starting it was just to be able to have this like outlet that lets us bring people in. We're
Right.
not put on a 2 minute, 30-second time frame. We get to bring people in that we want to talk to, that we want to have candid conversations with. Like last week, I said it really quick, but um I brought in one of our local senators, and
Wow.
it was a day Charlie Kirk got shot, and our senator was coming back from Jackson from
Okay.
like having being at our Capitol, and he met me at the office. And I mean, it was like the day of the shooting, so things are like very evolving. They're very real, raw, and like, the gunman was still on the loose at that point. So
Sure.
just got to bring him in and like talk about, his perspective. And then like also like I've always wanted it to be an outlet for us to be able to voice how we feel about a story, or how we feel about what's happening, in our world today, because you can't do that on local TV. Um, and I think it does matter, what people have to say and stories they want to tell. Not, and I tell people, like, I will always respect everybody's opinion. You have your opinion, I have mine, we're all entitled to it.
Yep.
Um, but I don't think that we should shy away from sharing that. And especially now, we are seeing more and more that we should stand firm in what we believe in and not be afraid to speak out. So really having that outlet through the podcast has been really cool. So um, today I interviewed a journalist who a couple years ago was in the headlines a lot because she pretty much quit live on TV and was like, I'm
Oh,
not,
wow.
they've been censoring me and they've been censoring my stories and my reporting. And like, I have a duty as a journalist to report the facts. And, so now she's doing her own independent journalism. So just getting to talk to people like that. And why is independent journalism picking up so much? We're seeing that a lot. And that's very important to notice.
Absolutely. No question. And listen, what is the name of your podcast?
Off the Record 662.
Off the record 662. Is 662 an area code or what?
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay,
it's our
gotcha.
area code.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you'll need to follow our socials. So, Spotify, I upload them all to Spotify. If you pull up Spotify, go to podcast and search Off the Record 662, it'll pop up. I upload every episode to that. I also just try to keep our Facebook, Instagram updated,
Mhm.
just with, the links and stuff. But it's just been easy to put it on Spotify after it gets edited, and just kind of push it that way.
I love it. I love it. Now, this is a great segue though, Alyssa, because I want to be able to talk to you now about work-life balance and mental health. As you know, being in this industry, there's been a lot of journalists that have stepped away from this industry because their mental health was affected. There's been a lot of journalists and people in media that have stepped away because they couldn't get their work life balance right. And it's tough to do. I don't think you ever have it 100% down. But at the same time, sometimes it's rough being a journalist. Lifestyle, right? News and sports and whatever genre it is, it never stops. It goes every single day. It's tough to take vacations. You do work through holidays. You do miss celebrations
Mhm.
and time with your family. I want to know, how do you keep your mental health strong, or how did you keep your mental health strong, I should say, but also still have that work life balance? Because you seem like a wonderful woman to be around. I certainly wouldn't mind being around you, that's for sure. But like you said, you have girlfriends, you have family, you have people that you want to hang out with,
Mhm.
but you also need some Alyssa time as well. So how did you were able to balance that?
I mean, especially just like when I was in news, I would like my mornings were just like my time, to do
Okay.
what I needed.
Hmm.
Um, which did sometimes require just me sleeping in and not doing anything,
Sure. Sure.
I wouldn't always have stuff to do before 2 o'clock or 2:30 when I went into work.
Hmm.
Um, and then just like finding that obviously I couldn't do anything like dinner wise
Right.
during the week with my friends, which was like a downfall. But during the weekends, I really like use that time to catch up with my friends and, try to do things, but without like overwhelming myself because also I wanted to rest, like I've just come off of a crazy week and like we've reported on hard news, sad news, breaking news, and like
Yeah.
a little bit of like breather from that, I would just try to take a step back from that. Like I've been in therapy for years and like I have no
Mm.
shame in that,
Right. Right.
just not because of work, but like obviously my work has gotten brought into it since the layoff and all that happened. But just staying consistent in that and like having someone to talk to, whether it is about work or life or, relationships, friendships, whatever. So just kind of like being able to take a step back and like take a breath. You don't ever want to like get desensitized to what's happening around you,
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
but you gotta step back some.
Uh, Great answer to that. It's a question worth asking, right? Because people are affected with mental health
Hmm.
in a plethora of ways. And people have also a plethora of ways to deal with that as well.
Yeah.
You mentioned something that was pretty pivotal, which was therapy. Therapy a long time ago, I'm in my 30s now, Alyssa. So therapy a long time ago was not talked about. No one
Hmm.
mentioned therapy, and a lot of people looked at it as a kind of a weakness to talk about it. But
Hmm.
to me, it was never a weakness. To me, in my mindset, in my opinion, has always been an outlet to talk to somebody that's a professional outside of your loved one. Sometimes your loved ones tell you what you want to hear instead of what you need to hear. And it's always good to have a bias that's, different than what your loved ones say. And somebody that is on the outside looking in, that may not know you, they may give a different
Hmm.
perspective of you. And I love the fact that you mentioned that you went to therapy, which bleeds into this next question, segue to this question, which is about advice. What is some advice that you would give someone, maybe an intern or a recent graduate, or someone that's just maybe curious about being
Hmm.
in this journalism space? What kind of advice would you give that individual that wants to join this industry?
I think my advice now is very different from what it would be 5 years ago, just because we've seen so much change with
Sure.
media and journalism.
Yep.
But my biggest advice is have a backbone. Don't fall into, we don't see a lot of trust with big media, right?
Okay.
Like you can turn on national news and you're going to find a news network that aligns with your beliefs,
Mhm.
whether it's right, left, middle, whatever.
Right.
It's important for local news to not fall into that category. Um, so I think it's very important that you know what you believe in, you stand firm in that, and, have the backbone and the spine to ask the hard questions. Don't just go out on a story and ask surface level questions, the who, what, when, where. Like, we're doing a disservice to our viewers if we're not digging deeper and asking the questions, because that is the foundation of journalism. We have a duty in as journalists, and that goes into journalism ethics, finding the answers, finding the stories, and going beyond what, an assignment manager might just hand you as a piece of paper to go cover.
Hmm.
We got to do more. We have to do more. And, you got to be able to think for yourself. You have to know what you stand for, what you believe, and then also be able to ask those hard questions.
I love that. I love that. I want to ask a follow up bonus question, and that is, how would you give advice to an individual that has to deal with hard news? You kind of spoke about it earlier about having to deal with different stories of crime and tragedy. We know the cookie cutter stories that make you smile and make you feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. Those are beautiful stories to do. But that's not the only stories that we do. We do a lot of tough news stories as well. And sometimes people take it home with them, and it's hard to
Mhm.
separate yourself from those stories. What kind of advice would you give individuals to deal with hard news stories? And also, did you find it difficult for you to separate yourself from those stories when you went home?
Yeah, I mean, and I think if you ever lost that, then you would that it'd be a big red flag, if you
Mm.
ever lose that's human, that's being human. And I think we've seen that so much in the last week. We've seen
Mhm.
so many people take what we've seen in the headlines, with Charlie Kirk being shot. And I mean, it's changing people, how they feel, how they believe, and I think if we ever lose that human side of us, like we need to be able. I'm not saying get on the air and if you're covering a tragedy, cause a scene in the studio. Like, you have to be professional and you have to hold it together, but that doesn't mean you can't show
Empathy.
your human side.
Right.
Yeah, like you can
Right.
say, this is really heavy, it was
Mhm.
really tough to report on, talking to this family that's gone through such a tragedy,
Right.
maybe they've lost a loved one. And it's okay to say that. Like, it's okay to be the real person and connect with viewers that way. I think if we try to mask it all and shove it down, then we're also doing journalism a disservice, because it's okay to kind of be a real person in that aspect, and say why it was hard, say why it was hard to cover, what about that story made it hard. And I mean, it's hard to not take it home, and I think that just comes with experience and years, because once you think you've seen the worst, then you're going to see another one that's going to be just as bad.
Right.
So that's
Absolutely.
never going to end, and we're whatever year we're in now, 2025, no telling what people are going to be reporting on in the next 5 years.
No question. No question about that. And like I said, it's a question worth asking. Because I commend all news reporters and anchors, everybody that's been on my platform, and even not even being on my platform, I still commend them because it's a difficult job to do. It's a
Mhm.
satisfying job, no question about it. But it's kind of why I veer towards sports. I really love sports with a passion, but and not to say sports don't have hard news stories, because sports do, but most of the stories is hard news. They're about wins and losses. And when you walk into a gym, a stadium, or whatever field, whatever you're playing, there's a 50% chance one of those two things are going to happen. You're either going to win the game or you're going to lose the game. And
Mhm.
talking to coaches, talking to players, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard when you lose. Yes, everybody knows that. But again, you know those chances. When you are doing news stories, you cannot imagine walking out of the door and someone has been fatally shot, or you are in a burning home, or some kind of tragic event has happened. And not only that, but now you got to go try to stick a microphone in his or her face to
Mhm.
talk to them. Because everybody deals with grief differently. And that was one of my things that I had trouble with, Alyssa. I was like, how much grace can you give a person? How much time can you give a person before you can stick a microphone in their face? Because everybody's different.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
like I probably wouldn't want to do that, I mean.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like,
So why would I ask somebody else to? It's very hard.
right. So you just never know. And again, I've had people on my platform that says, well, you have to desensitize yourself to it because you have a job to do. And I can't say they're wrong, but at the same time, it's just me as I've advocated to them. I know me. And I know it would be very difficult for me to stick a microphone in somebody's face to ask them questions. Yes, they might want to get their story out, but it's all about timing. And unfortunately, when we work in the news industry, we are on deadline. And we're on
Mhm.
deadline to the point where we got to get these stories out at a certain time. So everybody deals with grief differently. We can't just say, you know what, they might want to tell their story now and let's start asking them the hard hitting questions now. It just doesn't work like that. So I love the advice that you
Mhm.
gave. I really do. But it's a question that people should be asking and people should know because when you get into this
Mhm.
industry, you're going to deal with stuff like that. And you should be able to hear that advice and then take it for what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. Now, we've reached the portion of the podcast now that I want to do my interactive game called This or That. It is a interactive game that I like to play with all my guests here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast, and it's very simple. Alyssa, I'm gonna throw some things at you, and you get to choose this or that. So, are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. Out of these two restaurants, which restaurant would you rather eat at? Texas Roadhouse or Longhorn Steakhouse?
Texas Roadhouse.
Okay. Now, you took a while. You went all
I know.
around
I
the
was like,
different. Okay.
we have
Okay.
both, and I've been to both, and I like them both.
I love it. I love it though. I love that. When it comes to chicken wings, which flavor would you rather put on the wing? Barbecue or lemon pepper?
Lemon pepper.
Do you like your wings wet or dry?
Wet.
Okay. Okay. Do you like
But
your
hey, but boneless.
That's what I was gonna ask. Bone in or
Okay, I
boneless?
was about to say we got to clarify that. People
Okay.
can say they're chicken nuggets, but whatever. I'm
They
not eating a bone and wing.
they do, and they will continue to do that. But girl, you eat that boneless wing with pride. Damn it, you do what you do. I love that. Now, do you eat it with a fork and then you dip it, or you just eat it with your hands?
Fork and dip it into
Okay,
the ranch.
got you. Oh, mind you, I've never had ranch. That is a fun fact. I've never had ranch before.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Why?
I knew you was gonna ask me why, Alyssa. I knew you was gonna ask me why, and I was like, you know what? I will have an answer, but damn it, I don't have a good answer right now. I don't even know why. I haven't tried ranch on a wing. I haven't even had ranch in my salad. I've never tried ranch, period, at all. In 30 plus years of existence in my life. Uh,
Interesting.
yeah, listen, I haven't had ranch. I haven't had coffee. Never had coffee before. Yeah, I know, right?
Huh.
I'm usually a water and an apple juice kind of person in the mornings.
Mm-hmm.
Not really a coffee kind of person. But I commend those people that go to Dunkin' and go to Starbucks or go to the local coffee shops to get their
Yeah.
coffee. I commend them. More power to you. Let's continue with this or that. These next four questions have to do with music concerts you'd rather go to. Since you're a country fan, I want to ask you this first one. Which music concert would you rather go to? Casey Musgraves or Carrie Underwood?
Casey Musgraves.
She's
100%.
Man, she's absolutely gorgeous and she
Amazing.
she sings so good. One of my favorites.
Amazing.
No
Hmm.
question. Okay. Which music concert would you rather go to? Would you rather go see Luke Bryan or Brantley Gilbert?
Brantley Gilbert. I'm over Luke Bryan.
Wow. Okay.
He just
Wow.
doesn't do it for me.
Okay. I like that. I like that. Okay, here we go. Which music concert would you rather go see? Would you rather go see Beyonce or Rihanna?
Beyonce. What? Rihanna. I change it.
Oh, are you? I'm sorry.
Whoa! I don't know.
Are you sure?
I don't know. If I could get old school Beyonce, yeah, I would say old school Beyonce. Not
Oh,
old school. I just like her, like Lemonade era.
okay. Okay. Well, that was a difficult one for you to choose, Alyssa. But
Yeah, but I love Rihanna too, so it's hard.
right, right. That's what I was saying. Okay, so here we go. Here's the final music one. Which music concert would you rather go see? Would you rather go see Zach Brown Band or Lady A?
I've seen them both,
Mm-hmm.
honestly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But probably Zach Brown.
Okay, probably Zach Brown.
Hmm
I got you on that.
I've
Now,
seen them both, but it's been a long time.
been a long time. Okay, which sport would you rather play? Badminton or bowling?
Bowling,
Okay, are you a good bowler?
no, but I'm not gonna do badminton.
Do you need the
I
bumpers?
can tell you.
Do you need the bumpers for bowling?
Yes, I do.
Oh my lord! Oh no! Okay, listen,
Yep.
we gotta,
But
we
I don't
gotta.
know anything about badminton, so I'm not taking a risk at that.
That's okay. We just gotta improve your skills on bowling, so you don't need the bumpers no more. That's okay. We'll work on that. Which sport would you rather watch on TV? Basketball or hockey?
Ooh, hockey.
Okay, got you,
I
got you.
love hockey.
I do too. Hockey's a great sport. Now,
Hmm
I want to ask you: do you like desserts?
hmm
Okay, gonna name 4 categories of desserts. You have to choose one of these that you would never eat again. So here we go.
Okay.
First category is ice cream. The second category is candy. The third category is grouped together, so it's cake slash pies. The last category is cookies. Which one are you getting rid of?
Okay, you said cake, pies.
Mm-hmm.
That's one.
Yep.
Cookies.
Yep.
I'm not getting rid of ice cream.
Okay. And last one was candy.
I could get rid of candy.
Okay. I would say you on point like a period, Alyssa. That's what I would say.
Hmm
Because I would get
I
rid
could
of
get rid
candy
of
too.
candy.
I would.
Yeah.
What is your favorite ice cream?
I just love a good, well, at Baskin Robbins during the spring, they have my favorite seasonal flavor, baseball nut.
Say what?
Mm-mm-mm. Baseball nut.
Baseball nut. What?
Yeah, it's like baseball, like, I don't know. It's like vanilla with raspberry and it has like maybe pecan. I don't know, but it's amazing. But it's only like spring and summer. But other than that, I just like a good vanilla. I
Okay.
love a good like homemade vanilla
Okay,
flavor.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. I can't deal with the nuts because I'm allergic. But other than that,
Oh, well, yeah, don't try baseball nut
no, 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 no. I'm gonna leave the baseball nuts to you. No question about
Yeah,
that.
it's so
Okay,
good.
that's what's up. Do you like potato chips?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, same format. I'm gonna name 4 brands. You have to choose one of these brands to get rid of. So here we go. First brand is gonna be Pringles. The second brand is gonna be Lay's. The third brand is gonna be Ruffles. The last brand is gonna be Doritos. Which one are you getting rid of?
Lay's.
Okay, I'm gonna get rid of Lay's too. Now you don't have to
Yeah.
name the other 3, Alyssa. But what is your favorite potato chip?
Oof. I love Doritos,
Oh, okay, okay. I like that. I like
but
that.
I also like Pringles too. I love Pringles.
Okay, I like that too. Well, listen, you got some great taste, and you were very decisive. There's normally, well, except for the Beyonce answer, but other than that, you were
Yeah.
very decisive in this or that for sure. I love that.
Good.
Now, this next question has to do with bucket list. I wanted you to name me 4 different stories or events that you would like to do in your career that you haven't done yet.
4 different stories or events.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to go to the White House to do like a. I want to cover like I always wanted to cover like a White House press briefing. I think that'd be so cool,
Okay.
just like being there.
Okay.
Um, I mean, I think it'd be fun to like do some football.
Hmm. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I have some friends that work, like one of my friends hosts the ACC network show, and I worked with
Hmm.
her in Huntsville. And I'm like, it just looks like, it's like football talk. I
Got
wouldn't like be professional about it, but I'll just get up there and say my opinions or whatever. Um, but I think that'd be cool. Maybe just like one time. I don't want to dip into that too much, but
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think what two other ones would be.
Would you ever want to do like a red carpet event? I think you'll be amazing on that.
Yeah, I would like to do a red carpet, maybe for in Nashville when they do like CMA Fest,
Oh yeah,
Country Music Fest. That'd be
yeah,
fun.
that is fun.
Um,
Nashville's a great place, by the way. Love Nashville.
and like maybe a movie premiere,
Okay,
which I
okay.
kind of have done that honestly. I did that for the Elvis movie in Grace at Graceland. So, but maybe like red carpet. So
I think you would
that'd
be
be fun.
amazing on that. Look amazing, be amazing. I think you would absolutely do that. You would kill that for sure, no question about that. And the ACC network, I think you would kill that too. They have amazing people up there that do their thing, and no question about that. So I love asking that question because I want people to speak their stuff into existence. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
at some point, some way, that you be able to reach that as a goal of yours because I think you would be capable of doing all of those things for sure. Um, what is some advice that someone has gave you, Alyssa, that you hold on dearly to? We talked about advice you gave, but what is some advice someone gave you that you hold on dearly to?
I think it would just be pretty much the same thing that I say now, like my advice that I give to people.
Mm,
I mean, my dad always kind of told me, just to dig for, the truth and answers and, not to become just blend in with, what's going on around you or whatever, like have the knowledge yourself to know what you need to ask and then find the answer to those questions, which also goes back to like being smart enough to have a backbone, have a spine, stand in your beliefs,
mm,
and it might not be the most popular thing, but stand for something, you know.
sure.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's so important today. We've got to stop worrying about offending people so much. Like we all walk around on eggshells because we don't want to say the wrong thing or whatever, whatever it might be. Well, people are just you can look at them the wrong way and they're offended. I mean, I'm just like I'm over it. Like I don't care, which is really why I like to have our own podcast because I'm like, it gives an avenue to be able to talk to people who even might have, it's totally fine if they have different opinions than me. Like I want that,
Yeah.
I want to have a discussion about that or, why they have the same opinion or whatever, but being smart enough to know what you believe in, stand firm in that, and then, ask tough questions. Like, don't just go along with what big media is doing because that's what's in the headlines. Like,
Right.
a lot of people have lost trust with media, as they should,
Right.
honestly.
Oh yeah.
Um, but it's our duty to bring that in as we can from independent journalism too. So,
So I love that. No, I do. That's kind of how I live my life. I like to be able to be open and honest. You can be blunt. You can still be professional. You can still be respectable. It's great to have healthy conversations. It's great to have healthy debate. You don't have
mhm,
to agree with everything what somebody says, but as long as you keep it
yeah.
respectful, that's fine. That's great, and that's something that a lot of people sometimes struggle with because they dive deep into their opinions and they cold-heartedly stuck on their opinions, but the listening part is is one of the
Mhm.
major key opponents to any kind of conversation that you have with people. Listening is way more important than talking, and I try
Mhm.
to do that with everybody that I come across. um I want to be able to listen to what you're saying so I can understand to be able to have a retort that makes sense. So
Right.
I love that kind of advice from your dad. So shout out to your dad. He's a great man, obviously. Um, I told you I had a question about Tupelo, and I want to ask you about this now. And that is, what is four things I should do the moment I touch down in your city of Tupelo, Mississippi?
Well, you got to go to the birthplace of Elvis Presley, of course.
Okay.
That's our our massive claim to fame.
Okay.
So you got to go there.
Okay.
Then, which is a tiny little house, a museum, but people from all over the world come here to see it.
Okay.
Then you'll want to go to Johnny's Drive-In, which is also on that side of town, and they're like a small little drive-in burger joint, and Elvis used to go order food from there. They have an Elvis booth. People come from all over to take pictures in the booth that Elvis sat in.
Sure.
And, it's so sweet and quaint. They only take cash.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good though. Burgers, fries, that kind of food.
Okay.
Then also in downtown, we have it's called Tupelo Hardware. Everything is Elvis related because that's our this is our this is what Tupelo's known for.
Right.
Um, he bought or his mom bought him his first guitar there. And there's a little X you can stand on where Elvis stood and bought his first guitar. So people go into the hardware store and kind of, obviously they're still open for business. So people still shop there and stuff, but
Oh, okay.
all kinds of history there. And then just enjoying, I love our downtown. It's so cute. It's really walkable, several good little spots to grab a drink and dinner or whatever it might be. So just kind of wander around there. The farmers market down there is real cute. A lot of local vendors set up there. Food Truck Friday in our little fair park, our downtown area. On Fridays, a bunch of food trucks come and
Okay.
just set up and people grab lunch there. So very sweet little town.
Absolutely. And yeah, and I may be ignorant for asking this. I'm sorry. Y'all do have an airport, right?
Yes, it's small. It is
Okay.
very small.
Okay. So it is small. Got you. 'Cause I didn't know. I knew. Obviously going into Mississippi, I know there's certain airports and different things of that nature, but I didn't know about Tupelo and the
Yeah,
airport
it's
being
small. There's a direct flight from Nashville. There's
okay.
a direct flight from Dallas. So
Got you.
Contour Airlines does a great, service to and from the Tupelo airport. And their flights like to Nashville, it's so easy. Like if I'm going to see my friends there, I don't drive. Like I just jump on the plane. It's
Hmm.
cheap, it's affordable, 40 minutes up and down and you're there. So,
I love it.
and
I
then of
love
course
it.
navigating our airport is nothing. So it's just easy to travel in and out of.
I love that. No, that's amazing. That's really amazing. And obviously, like I said, next time I'm there in Mississippi, I got to visit family in
Yes.
Jackson, but I also got to come to Tupelo.
Then
I
come
would
up to
I
Tupelo,
would definitely say
make
what's
the
up to
trip,
you for sure, and I would definitely go out and enjoy it. That's for sure. I would love that.
make the trip.
Um,
Amazing.
I wanna say this because this has been an absolutely amazing type of conversation, Alyssa. Just talking to you about your why, getting to know you, from your days of going to community college or your days of being born in Texas, I guess, but raised in
Hmm.
Mississippi. Having your dad work at the same station that you worked at had to be very special. Obviously, your transparency about what happened transpired to that. I really do appreciate that. You talking about therapy as well. But you also giving great advice on this
Hmm.
industry. And what things may come with it, what thoughts may come with it, what may happen, right? When new management takes over, they may have a restructure, they may have a layoff system, and something that you have to prepare for. But I love the fact you also talked about your podcast as well, which is Off the Record 662, which you guys should definitely go take a listen to for sure. And I hope to be a guest on there for sure as well. I loved all that. And I really do love
Yes,
you allocating your time to me once again, being on my podcast. My final
of
question to
course.
you is there anything else you would like to add about what you do now, your podcast, journalism, or anything at all before we conclude?
I don't think so. I just like again like encouraging everybody to do your own research. Don't just read the headline, like read beyond it. Um, we have a duty to continue on in journalism despite what bigger media might represent.
Absolutely.
Um, and corporate doesn't care. They literally don't care. In my case, it was all due to money. It was due to budgets. It was due to they couldn't afford the day I got laid off across the corporate company, thousands of others did too. Like that is so then we're seeing that talent, experience, that doesn't matter
Right.
anymore.
Right.
because they can hire somebody who can't hardly string together a sentence to be a warm body and put a microphone in front of them
And pay them less, much less.
and pay them a fraction,
Right.
pennies on the
Right.
dollar, honestly.
Right.
Um, but it's so important now more than ever, I think, for people to support their independent journalists and independent journalism, because people like myself and like other independent journalists are so motivated to continue doing the work that we did in just a different outlet now. So that's it.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you saying that. There's no question about that. And thank you again so much for coming
Yes,
on to my
of
podcast.
course.
And you and I will most certainly be in touch. I want you to enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening and the rest of your week. Alyssa, you take care.
Thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely.
All right. Bye.